And there are four kind of components of the compass of shame. So if we're feeling ashamed, we can withdraw, we can avoid, we can attack others. But the most corrosive is when we attack ourselves. People can get really, really stuck there. So if you're in that space where you're really, really stuck in this like space of, I'm attacking myself. I don't deserve compassion. I'm full of all this emotion and anxiety and hurt. What are some of the steps that people can take to kind of start to get out of that horrible, horrible place that I think we've all experienced at some stage in life?
There are definitely times where I have noticed, clocked, that I'm speaking to myself in a way I honestly wouldn't speak to anyone else. But it's almost like that internal narration is so automatic or so habitual that I don't even notice until I stop in my track and think, I don't think I would ever say that to someone else in this
Yeah.
situation, whatever situation it may have been. So I think part of the insidiousness of it is that we're so used to doing it, we might not even track the compass of shame that you're talking about, that we're in that space that we're in. So the first step is noticing. And I think that's a very easy thing to say. But I think when we're not in the habit of catching how we talk to ourselves, how we respond to ourselves, it takes quite a lot of focused effort to start to pause and attune and notice and check in with what is running through my mind right now. How am I responding to myself?
And I would almost say, and not just how you're responding to yourself, which system is running my nervous system at the moment? Because if we think from compassion work, we're thinking the threat system, the drive system, and the soothing system. And the threat system is completely automatic. Something has happened and it goes straight into overdrive. And the drive system is motivating us to get to the goal that we're wanting to get to. The soothing system is not automatically online. This needs space and it needs awareness and it needs conscious thought and activity to bring it online. So if we're in this kind of space where we're noticing how we're talking to ourselves, how do we then bring online the concept of which system is running the show at the same time? Like, how do you know when I'm talking to myself in a really nasty way, which system is actually running this?
I guess there are no hard and fast, but if we're talking to ourselves in a really nasty way, I would imagine that that is sitting within the threat system. And you're right, to move into the soothing system it's a bit like a muscle. We really need to grow it. It's not just going to suddenly hop online and do the work for us. We need to become more practice at building the neural pathways, at building the habits that help us feel more familiar in that space when we're not in threat mode, so that that can become more accessible and more available to us when we are in threat mode. And it is quite an embodied experience. So I think certainly when you're talking about shame, that's often the reason why some of the more sort of cognitive approaches can be like, people can understand, like, I get it, makes sense to me, but putting it into practice, it just doesn't connect. We've got this head-heart lag. It feels unsafe, or I don't feel I deserve it. So there can be lots of barriers from that shame spiral you're talking about that keep us in the threat mode. So those three circles you're talking about are absolutely from compassion-focused therapy as a model.
Yeah.
And I think that many of us have smaller soothing systems and they're out of balance.